What is up guys, I'm here, back with another Season of Mastery video. So Blizzard are doing fantastic things for Season of Mastery, and today we'll be talking about anti-botting mechanics in the game itself, as Blizzard are putting some mechanics into the game to really combat botting and make it a lot more difficult to actually bot in the game, which is great. So we're going to talk about that today. I'm going to give you two concrete examples of exactly what Blizzard is doing to help us fight botting in the game itself and make bots less lucrative and less effective to prevent bots from actually happening. It is worth noting that we are only in week 4 of the open beta for Season of Mastery, and considering Blizzard are already adding these things to the game itself, it is fair to assume they will continue fighting botting and adding even more anti-botting mechanics into the game itself, either through the open beta or at actual launch as well. Maybe like we have small updates in phase 1, or they could also just add things into phase 2 and phase 3. They could also just give us small patches every single week to put things into the game. And the fact that Blizzard are recognizing botting and the actual botting, the ways the bots were doing stuff in Classic WoW, Blizzard are recognizing this and adding anti-bot mechanics to those specific bot farms. So the two things I want to talk about today is Rogues Pickpocketing in Blackrock Depth, and also Mages farming inside Maraudon. Before we do that though, I want to remind you guys that I've made and published my own gold making guide for Classic WoW Season of Mastery, or Classic Fresh, and this is an 86 pages PDF document so far containing 38 different gold farms, suitable for all classes regardless of professions. There's also 36 items to invest in over the course of Classic WoW to maximize your profits during Season of Mastery. The feedback on this guide has been insane so far. I'm so happy you guys are happy with it, and right now you can grab it for 50% off using code Solheim. Once you purchase the guide, you will also get the future updates for free, and I will keep updating the guide throughout Season of Mastery. And with that being said, let's talk about the updates. So number 1 is Rogues Pickpocketing in BRD. So Blizzard have added a debuff called Thief, which is a debuff in Classic Season of Mastery on the open beta. And this is a debuff that happens whenever you pickpocket. I think it's 11 mobs. For me it triggered on 11 mobs both times. So you can pickpocket 10 mobs, and the 11th one will trigger a debuff effect, which lasts for 30 minutes. So if you pickpocket 11 mobs in a row, you can't pickpocket anything for 30 minutes. This is obviously to combat botting and also raw gold farming, as Blizzard seems to not like the fact that people can produce raw gold by themselves in solo ways or solo farms and so on. It is mostly an anti-botting mechanic, as you can still farm gold in different ways, and I'll get into that in this video as well, how you can circumvent or how you can get away from this debuff, or how you can still farm in BRD as a rogue if you're a real player instead of a bot. It's not going to be the same, but it's going to be a bit different, but it's still going to be useful for real players and also bots as well, I assume. But hey, they are doing some anti-botting mechanics, and that is great. So once you have this debuff, you can still pickpocket things, but you will only get a pocket lint. This pocket lint is sellable for 1 copper, so after 11 pickpockets, you will only get 1 copper for every single pickpocket, rendering pickpocketing useless. So this is obviously to fight bots that were pickpocketing at the arena in BRD, as this was a really popular botting farm in Classic WoW, where bots would just stand inside, stealth inside, and just pickpocket these mobs on repeat, and they would pickpocket everything in the instance, go out and reset, and do the same thing again. Just basically make 12-minute runs and do 5 runs per hour, and maximize your downtime or maximize your uptime to farm as much gold as possible. Right now, when you get this debuff, this means you can only pickpocket 11 mobs, which will give you about 11 silver, maybe like 12, 13, 15 silver, let's say 15 silver, or up to 20 silver per run, and then you get a 30-minute debuff. There are 2 ways to actually get this debuff to go away, well actually 3. Number 1 is to wait it out, obviously. Number 2 is you can die with this debuff, and dying removes the debuff, but you will have to run back. This is only a 3-minute, roughly 3-minute run back to Blackrock Depth, and this means you can still farm, but it adds 3 minutes to every single run, and you can only do 11 pickpockets. So even though bots can still do that, where they pickpocket 11 times, die on purpose, run back, takes them 3 minutes, pickpockets 11 more mobs, dies again, does that on repeat, and by dying naked you won't have any repair bills either, so it could still be doable that way, but even if they do that, they will only make about 2.5 gold per hour doing that. It is definitely not a good gold farm, and I think most bots, if any, if there are any in Classic WoW, well, I think they will do other things. The second way to remove this debuff right now on the open beta, and this one really curtails, or this one really applies to real players, as you can still farm in BRD by yourself if you're a real player, and that is that for every single kill you get, it will reduce the debuff timer by 5 minutes. This means that as a real player, you can actually do this one, you can do the farm itself, pickpocket 11 enemies, get yourself the debuff, kill 1 mob, it will remove 5 minutes, so you have to kill 6 mobs in total. Then you can go back, pickpocket 11 more mobs, you can kill 6 more enemies and do that on repeat all the time, and you can do that in 12-minute intervals to utilize your dungeon limit or dungeon cap. So this means that as a real player you can still farm some gold in BRD, as you can still pickpocket some lucrative treasures from these mobs, and you can also kill some mobs at the start of the entrance itself. You can basically sap one mob, you can kill the other one, and when the other one goes out of sap you can just go back and kill that one as well, and they will drop roughly 10 silver per elite, as these guys are elite. So they will drop about 10 silver in raw silver, as well as rune cloth and other gems, or treasures. So you can still farm a lot of gold in BRD as a real player, and I guess bots can do this as well, but this one will really be more lucrative for real players now, and I love that. Now there is one more anti-bot mechanic that Blizzard have put into the game, and this one is more for dungeon boosting or dungeon farming inside dungeons, and it's more tailored to mages. So Blizzard have started to actually buff the mobs inside specific dungeons, like Moradin and Sulfarak, making them immune to snare and root effect, and also giving them an enrage timer which increases their movement speed by 50%. I think it was in week 2 of the open beta they addressed Sulfarak graveyard farming, and these mobs also got these buffs making them immune to snare and root effect, and also increasing their movement speed by 50%, and on top of that they also had their treasures taken away from the loot table and redistributed to other mobs inside the dungeon. Now this week, in week 4, we have an item or a spell called Blessing of Theradras, which is the same thing. It buffs the mobs inside of Moradin, at least that's what we think it does right now, which it makes them immune to snare and root effect, and it also increases their movement speed by 50%. Even though we don't know exactly this is what the mark is doing or the Blessing of Theradras, if you go inside Moradin right now on the open beta and you try to mage boost, these mobs will eventually become immune to snare and root effect, and they will also move a lot faster than usual, having their movement speed increased by 50%, which is exactly what the Blessing of Theradras is doing as well. Now, even though Blizzard have only announced this for a couple of dungeons so far, I think the fact that they are doing this for several dungeons means they will also keep doing it for more dungeons as well, meaning I really expect them to do this for Stratholm, so mages can't farm Stratholm, and pretty much every single mage farm that is available, as well as Sulgurub when that becomes available as well. So even though Blizzard are not talking about Sulgurub specifically right now, I think they will implement this for Sulgurub as well, when that becomes available in Season of Mastery. It really seems like Blizzard is doing their best to prevent mage boosting as well as botting in Season of Mastery, and I'm all for it. This is absolutely incredible so far. I'm loving every single change we're getting, and I'm really excited to play this game. So that is pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to talk about these 2 anti-botting mechanics in Season of Mastery, and they are really incredible. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like down below, leave a comment as well, subscribe for more Season of Mastery content, and I'll see you again very soon.